You know red circles of fire is sweet, so please like us and subscribe.
Chapter 12, The Gathering. The three walked into waves of sound. It was a voluminous cavern reminiscent of a cathedral. Its ceiling was 9 to 10 stories high, and its walls curved inwards toward each other to form an elongated arch. An assembly of 2,000 to 3,000 people paid rapt attention to a speaker standing on an elevated stone dais at the far end of the enormous space. The acoustics were impeccable, for even though the man was about 500 paces from one of the dual entrances, his voice was amplified enough for him to be heard even when he spoke at a conversational volume. Along the back wall of this cavern was a multi-level facade that appeared to be a temple, whose triangularity perfectly matched the arch design of the room. At the center of this temple was a gigantic shrine to a goddess, possibly Mother Awa-Ma. Symmetrically on each side of this shrine were yellow golden lit arches and porticos, likely both decorative and functional in design. The speaker was an elder, clearly a priest of some sort, for he wore orange clerical robes as he raised his hands in benediction.
Sisters, brothers, and beloved others, happy love.
The crowd roared back, "Happy love, Brother Tulu." The man continued,
Pilgrims, as you take the sacred trek to the capital city for this blessed holy week of love, may you be graced with the protection of the divine circles. May the breadth of their diameters encompass the desires of your heart. May the area of their circumferences contain all that your souls need. For we are a people who for eons have been encircled by love, and there is nothing greater than the love of Makana.
Then he concluded with a happy love, and the throng replied, "Happy love," and adjourned. As the huge crowd began to mill about and the cacophony of its joyful conversations ricocheted off the walls, Oto-Mani grabbed the hands of Ola-Rhea and Diodi. "Something tells me that the priest is a vital link in our quest for the Mother Crystal. Come on." Diodi chirped, "Oh, something tells you, huh?" He rolled his eyes but did not fully dig in his heels, as he and Ola-Rhea were pulled to the front of the cathedral cave. After wading through the multitude, they reached the front to find the elder priest standing before a pregnant young woman with his hands upturned in a sign of blessing. "Sister-daughter, may the divine circles ensure the safe delivery of your child as another healthy offspring to the Makana family." She beamed, "Thank you so very much, Father Brother Tulu." He replied with a beatific smile and kissed her forehead while briefly touching her belly. Then, 2 towering young men who were twins, lean, well-built, and clad in yellow cloth, stepped forward and stood on each side of the elder priest. They too might have been priests. Standing on his tiptoes, the old man placed his hands on the top of these young men's heads as they looked back at him adoringly. With a twinkle in his eye, the old man chided them. "How long have I waited to give this blessing?" The 3 of them chuckled, though the young men cast embarrassed glances toward the ground. The old man's tone became serious again. "With each of you, may the divine circles bless your marriage as you give the entire spheres of your minds, bodies, and souls to your beloved other. It is particularly propitious you have asked me to give this blessing during this week. Love makes one happy, and so happy love." The young men repeated the blessing. Quietly, Diodi voiced a question all 3 had. "Marriage. They look like twin blood brothers." Ola-Rhea speculated. "Maybe the priest means their marriages to other people." A skeptical Diodi shrugged, "Well, I guess it's all love." As this question was left hanging in the air, the old man swiveled on a heel to greet the 3 travelers before they could speak to him. "Happy love, pilgrims." His words caught the 3 by surprise, but they feebly responded before he continued. "May the blessings of our great concentrium of Makana be upon you, today." Concentrium. Ola-Rhea spoke quickly so there was not an uncomfortable and suspicious silence. "Thank you so very much, brother." Her face flushed because she could not immediately remember the name she had overheard. With an avuncular wink, he said, "Father Brother Tulu, or simply Brother Tulu." Not certain which address was best, Ola-Rhea used the one that sounded more respectful. "Father Brother Tulu. I am Sister Area, and these are my companions, Brother Yuzi and Brother Odi." Each gave a reverent bow. Although clearly an elder, Tulu's age lines did not make him look old, but rather accentuated the warm, handsome character of his bronze face. With a trimmed beard and closely cropped hair, It was obvious that when Tulu was a younger man, he was an exquisite sight. Even now, many in Makana still wanted more than his priestly affection. Fussing a little with a cloak and retrieving a walking stick, Tulu commented, "I hope your journey has been wonderful." Ola-Rhea once again, "Yes, it has been. We are just sorry that we only heard the very ending of your sermon. But those few words were still a blessing." Tulu gave a humble grin. "Thank you, sister." He looked down at her belly. "Forgive me, but I should have offered a blessing for your unborn child as well." Ola-Rhea tried to think quickly. "That is so kind of you. Perhaps later." With an unreadable expression, Tulu said, "Yes, of course." Looking up at the fleeting sunlight that shined through a ceiling aperture, Brother Tulu stated, "Evening will soon be here. Have the three of you had supper yet?" This time Oto-Mani replied, "Well, a brother vendor gave us pieces of fruit in the market, but we are." Tulu cut him off. "Oh, he did? How wonderful. What kind of fruit did you eat?" Diodi caught himself before saying, "We don't know." Instead, he said, "It looks like a pomegranate, but it is quite different." Tulu asked, "A what?" The three of them froze. Had they revealed themselves to be outsiders? Quickly, Tulu continued, "Well, do not bother with my question, brother. We in Makana call the same thing by different names. It was likely a gordango. They are one of my vices. I crave them." He laughed heartily. The three joined him in his amusement but could not hide their nervousness. "Well, please join me at my home for a meal. I would love to have some company this evening." Unlike the venal ethics of Rakana, inhospitality was likely a cardinal sin in Makana. So, Oto-Mani signaled to his companions that they should not refuse. "Of course, Father Brother Tulu. Thank you very much." Tulu's home was not too far of a walk from the cathedral cave. But they first had to cross another smaller, but still large cave complex, where yet another throng of people gathered. Its walls were lined with intricate, porous windows and arches, some human-made and others were natural, that were illuminated in alternate colors of turquoise and gold. At its center was a large wading pool, whose clear waters looked as pure as the raindrops that were likely showered from the sky opening that was above it. But what most drew the attention of Oto-Mani, Diodi, and Ola-Rhea were the dozens of nude women and men who frolicked, paddled, lounged, or cuddled within the pool. Such open displays of nudity, sexuality, and sex should have offended Oto-Mani's Rakana sense of propriety and morality. But then he thought to himself, "How can I condemn these people loving freely when, as the ruler of my land, I am in exile because I am not free to love who I love?" He felt a genuine kinship with a people he still knew very little about. Within several dozen steps, Tulu led them through an archway when he announced, "Here is my humble home." It was a circular alcove with a brightly lit, gurgling fountain in the middle, and a concentric pattern of tiles radiating from the fountain to the lantern and candle-lit walls. Behind the fountain, 3 steps led to a huge circular doorway that above had a circular stained-glass window. Ola-Rhea commented, "Father Brother Tulu, this is quite lovely." He agreed, "Thank you, my child. The people are generous in providing me with a place to rest when I am here in the outer circles away from the capital. It is far more than I need, but they honor me so." Dimly lit, Tulu's home was still quite cozy. Once inside, the immediate impression of the 3 travelers was that Tulu was not simply an elder priest, but a great sage, a great scholar. All around his home were towers and towers of books, likely covering a world of stories and subjects. Oto-Mani marveled because he knew that such an extensive library would cost a mountain of fire gold in Rakana. Scattered in between the books were many large and small objects, strange in design and unknown in purpose, or at least unknown to the travelers. Seemingly, the objects were made of various metals, wood, clay, or shiny kinds of stone. Tulu's home was not cluttered, because there seemed to be a logic as to where things were placed. But other than the large rugs that covered floors in several rooms, free space was at a premium.
Now, good people, please like, comment, and subscribe to catch the next thrilling episode of Red Circles of Fire.